Good evening, everybody. Here we are, Wednesday, the 27th of April, episode number 71 of So What's Been Happening on a fine, it's a little balmy, crossing seasons as we are at the moment on a Wednesday night, coming to you from Melbourne. Lots of things happening at the moment. It's an exciting time. Things looking like they're finally ramping up. We've seen some record number crowds at some events, which is fantastic to see. Festivals are kind of getting back in swing. Winter obviously dies off a little bit with festival world, but it's a great time for artists to get out and about and start touring. And one of those is obviously MATT JOE GOW, who we'll speak to shortly, who's currently on the road, which is an exciting time. Finally out of his apartment in sunny Melbourne, and finally, well, we'll find out where he is anyway shortly. So before we do, let's bring up Cuz for a chat. How are you?
Hey, Az. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Welcome to another Wednesday night, episode 71.
71, hey? Yes. Who'd have thought we'd get this far, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting, actually. We had a little bit of a break there for a while, and we're kind of coming back with a vengeance, trying to get back into the swing of it. But it's great to be out and about again.
And look, as you said, mate, at the start, it's wonderful to see that people are going to sport, people are going to see gigs, even things like going to the movies, out for dinner with the family. Really good. I think Easter just going and school holidays, that was a really good eye-opener to sort of say that people are going down to their caravans or their holiday houses and that sort of stuff. And me and Jody and the kids were lucky to do that as well, had a bit of time away. And it was just good to be out. And that was the good general consensus. There wasn't the blame game that stopped them. People were just happy to be out living some sort of normality again, which is good.
Yeah, I don't know about you, mate, but finally the big word C for COVID is rearing its ugly head again. There used to be a time not so long ago where I don't think anyone knew of anyone that actually had COVID. Now it's a case of if you haven't had it by now, you kind of missed out, haven't you? But it's a bit of a worry coming into winter. Masks are off. No more check-ins. It's all a bit bizarre, but we're kind of now back into it.
Yeah, look, we are, and it's probably hit. Like obviously a sport that you and I both love. Obviously, the AFL is getting hit by it well, but look, they managed it very well last year, and they'll manage it again this year. I think the biggest thing now is just the common sense approach to it. Like, I think the big issue that a lot of people have, especially with the close contact thing, is a lot of people who were close contacts weren't getting sick. And the flow-on effect to that was they couldn't go and perform their normal duties, whether it be in hospitality, in the health fraternity or things like that. So that's probably the flow-on effect. And I think governments, state and federal, sort of got their heads together a bit, which is a good thing to see, and thought, look, it is what it is. Let's just manage it the best we can.
Yeah. And just on that, please, when you're out and about in amongst bars, venues at the moment, please be patient. The hospitality staff are trying their best. They're super understaffed. It's hard enough to try and get venues up and going again, get artists to play and have everyone have the confidence to get out there again. But yeah, I've seen seen some ugly instances a couple of times recently of just people not taking that deep breath and just realizing, put yourself in someone else's, position, and just take your time. There's no hurry. We're all there. We're having some fun. We're out and about. Just enjoy it. And don't let it go pear-shaped. That's for sure. We don't want that happening again. So
as much as you don't want to sound like a preaching thing, that they're wise words, mate, because at the end of the day, and we've said this many times, you and I, on here, and also when we've caught up outside of the podcast, just use common sense. Like, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. So let's take that deep breath. They're not going to get it right. I'm yet to meet anybody who's perfect. So let's just take that deep breath, step back, and things will keep going along.
Absolutely. All right. Just before we kick off with Matt, we're just going to bring up a couple of famous number 71s that have come up in our world. There's about a minute.
Did a little bit of research on the 71, so I've got a couple of gems for you in a minute too as well.
Look forward to that. It was a big year. There we go, cuz. 71.
Mate, some absolutely fantastic vision there. As we've touched on before, mate, I love it how with the NFL and so the NHL in the States, that higher the number, it's not so much a derogatory thing or a down thing. Whereas here in Australia with the AFL, in your first game, if you get 71, it's, well, mate, we're thinking it might be your first and only game. Whereas and I know you're a lot more bigger fan of the hockey with me. They love it over there, don't they? The higher the numbers, almost like a badge of courage, isn't it?
Absolutely. And probably the greatest player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, wearing 99, mate. You don't get much higher than that. So,
exactly right. Now, mate, you stole a little bit of my thunder, probably not intentionally. Just obviously, as you know, mate, you've probably brought me back into the love of live music and that. So I did a couple of quick checks, a little bit of homework on 1971, the top 5 songs, 1971. Mate, one of the greatest. At the top, Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin, one of the best. Then some interesting ones. Then we've got another beautiful song by an amazing man, Imagine by John Lennon, came out 71 after leaving the amazing Beatles. Then we've had Al Green, or as he likes to sometimes be referred to as the Reverend Al Green, with What's Going On.
What a great
then
song.
We've got What's Going On? Take that back. That's from the amazing Marvin Gaye, who was unfortunately killed by his own father in the 80s. Then Al Green, number 4, with What's Going On. Then probably one of the most iconic songs of all time by this artist, and you did mention it in the little clip before, Maggie May by Rod Stewart.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, that's the top 5. Got to give an honourable mention to one of the most iconic songs ever written. Came in at number 6. I'll give you a clue. It was covered by Madonna in the 90s, and some say she butchered it.
Yeah, right. Go with it. Who is it?
American Pie came in at number 6.
Yeah, right.
So interesting to sort of see the top, no disrespect to Marvin Gaye or Al Green, they're wonderful songs, but I look at us at our age, like American Pie is possibly one of the most iconic songs ever written, isn't it, really?
Well, don't forget America with A Horse with No Name, mate. What a song. What a song. I absolutely love it. There we go.
Nice. Love it.
A bit more. All right, let's get into it, mate. We've got an exciting guest. We've only got a couple of minutes with this young man who we've had on before. Massive show favourite for us. And it's a really exciting time. We titled this one Release Time. And it's time to release. Absolutely. It's finally here. Can't wait. This must be a really exciting time for our next guest. Let's bring him up, Mr. MATT JOE GOW. How are you, Matt? Welcome back.
Hey, how you guys?
Hey, Matt.
Good to be back.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Now,
spending
have you got
minutes with us.
have you got your flippers? Have you got your flippers on, mate? It's a little bit wet up north.
Yeah,
they tell me
it
at the moment in New
It
South
is.
Wales.
It's very wet up here in Sydney, and I got drenched today and got drenched yesterday walking in the rain. So it's pretty miserable, actually. I see a lot of people's faces. They look pretty down. They're over it. So I get it. Yeah, it must be awful.
Not songwriting weather, Matt?
Well, I mean, I've been in Tamworth, and there are a lot of musicians there from Sydney, and I think that they were really. I mean, we were all excited to be playing live music again, but I now understand they've been in this terrible, terrible weather, and Tamworth was 26, 27 every day and sunny, so it was really. Sydney musos were really loving it.
I did see on a news report, I think yesterday, and it wasn't an exaggeration. They basically said, like, as we're coming into almost the end of April, it's basically rain, they said, nearly every second day in the CBD and surrounds since January.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's not fun. I used to think their weather was better than Melbourne's, but now I changed my mind.
Mate.
Yeah, I changed my mind. Yeah, but it's good to be up here playing shows. As I said, we played a ton of shows this last week in Tamworth, and just got a couple of days off now to do a little bit of catching up, press, whatever it is, and then back to another couple shows. So before I head back.
Mate, one thing I noticed. Sorry, Cuz. One thing I noticed was third time lucky tour, mate. It's always interesting what you call a tour. This is no exception, mate.
I don't know if thought into the tour names, but that one was an easy one. Actually, our agent Greg came up with that one. He was like, "Why don't we call it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good one." So I think it literally is the third time we tried to do the tour. So I think it worked well.
Yeah, just on that, Matt. Obviously, an extensive amount of dates just here through April, and then into what's coming up into May as well. But it's it's not easy to pull together a tour like that, and especially
it's tough. It's tiring, especially when you've already booked it 3 times. This is the third time, so it was exacerbating and it was exhausting. But we were relentless and eventually got to play most of the dates, not all of them, but most of the dates. And even then, it wasn't easy. Like, my flight was delayed to the point where I missed a show, had to turn up the next day. My guitars didn't turn up. My guitarist's guitars didn't turn up. My bass player literally didn't turn up himself. It was tough. It was nothing was given to us this tour, I tell you. So yeah, so now it's nice, a bit of downtime. My voice is tired after about 10 shows, and just taking a couple of days and then focus on this single coming out. Playing a bit of music. As you saw, I was on the piano yesterday, and then and Sweet Collapse video out tomorrow. So
yeah, exciting. Go for it, Cuz.
How good does it feel, Matt? Like, obviously, as you said, like this tour you've just done and the dates you've been on, that would be very taxing. But parking that thought for a minute, thinking about what you've been through as a musician, do you sort of feel that come on, world, throw anything at me. As much as you're enjoying your downtime now, you sort of feel a bit. I want to say bulletproof, but like your resilience, like as it's taught me some of the work and the things you've done, you must feel proud of the achievements even to get to the tour as much as you did. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, and sorry, my connection's not the greatest here. If I drop in and out a little bit, you can always can me. But I think I do notice the resilience in the musicians who have stuck with it. And I noticed that some of us didn't have that, you know, and I won't name names. I don't blame them. You know, everyone's different, but I did look over at my guitarist and say, geez, you know, we did it. We got through that. That was really hard. You know, that was really hard. It's all been really hard, but this last week was really hard.
Yep.
Because like I said, my flights were delayed to the point where I stayed in Melbourne when I was meant to be up here for an extra night after being 5 hours at the airport. Qantas, fucking garbage. I tell you, they'd forgotten how to run an airline. So then my bags didn't turn up. And then my guitarist guitars didn't turn up as well. So, and then when our bass player didn't turn up because his car broke down. Yeah, I don't even want to go into it, but it was dilemma, mate. So yes, like it felt good to have overcome that. I don't tempt fate, you know. There's always more that can be thrown at you, but we did pretty well that time. So we made it through that ordeal. You know, so yeah, I'm proud of the guys. The band played really well. Our new bass player, Jeremy, was amazing. He did an amazing job. And yeah, we had some great shows, guested with some great artists, whether Bill Chambers or Lachlan or Hartsville record. So we had some good guest spots and just a really good camaraderie up there. So yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, and then since then I've played shows in New South Wales regional and 2 more coming.
Beautiful. And tomorrow, an exciting time for you, mate. And not the day's finally here to launch this single, Sweet Collapse. Just give us a little.
Yeah. Well, the song's out, as you know, the song itself, but you would break the video up these days. It's kind of the way you do it these days. So the video is out tomorrow, and it's an opportunity for people to see visual representation of the song. We put a fair bit of work in the videos, actually. Myself, the director Regan, we put a bit of work in, and so hopefully people enjoy it. You know, but it's been a good response to the song. It's been out, I think, 2 weeks or maybe not quite, and yeah, it's done well. It's charting on the AMRAP charts. Had a lot of really good. Probably had some of the best feedback of that song of any song I've released. So that's good.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Is it? How hard is it, Matt, to once you've written the song, looked at releasing the song? Is it very hard to match the song to the video? Like if you make a video for a song, you said you worked pretty hard on this one. Is that for previous songs or even other artists you've seen? Is that?
It takes work. Yeah. Videos take work. They're not that easy. Yep. They take work on the concept end. They take work during to get the concept executed correctly, and then you need a director with a good eye, you know, for lighting or shots and frame, and then you need good editing skills. And if you fall down in any one of those sections, your video looks garbage. You know, just one of them. If you light it shit, your video looks rubbish. If you edit it badly, the video looks rubbish. So it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. So I think we did a good job. But they definitely take a bit of work to match it up to the song, as you said. Yeah, that's not that easy. It's surprisingly difficult, actually.
Yeah. I saw a little snippet of it just before Matt, we put it up on our Instagram story. So I really look forward to it. It's quite a dynamic kind of couple of angles there and some nice close-ups.
Yeah, there's some. I did a video called "Running Up That Hill" with the same director, and we shot that in black and white. He shot some really cool shots. It was just me and the camera, and it works really well. Actually, it was quite a popular video. So this one, we sort of used some of that influence, and then we also wanted to go a little bit bigger with a beautiful environment at Gunner Beach. It was sort of desolate on that day, at least, and we had drone footage, and yeah, it was sort of stepped it up a level, I think. So it's pretty cool, some pretty colors, and yeah, it just suits the song. You know, it suits the song. It's sort of, I think it's simple but effective. Yeah.
Yep. And just tell us a little bit about the song before I play it, Matt.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna play that clip. Just tell us a little bit about the song and the inspiration from it.
My uncle Georgia Rose. Yeah, and it was a song that sonically reminded me of Georgia Rose. So the lyrics, I leaned into continuing the story from that song. So it's a sequel to that song, and it's about my journey as a songwriter and my life and some of the losses I've been dealt, and maybe people can connect with that. But yeah, see what people think.
Glenn, you got one last one for Matt?
Oh no, you basically asked the question like what Matt used his inspiration, and you answered it beautifully. And I think with songs I've heard of yours before, Matt.
Yeah,
and we're blessed for having artists like yourself on here. I love hearing the stories you tell in your songs, and I find the people we've had on, and you're definitely you're a repeat offender on it now. And it's great having you back on again.
that's cool.
Hearing your songs, you hear your life through your songs, and it's fantastic that you let, well, not only Az and I and the people who watch this, but obviously other people as well too. And it's yeah, mate, to be honest, I'm envious of that talent to be able to do that. It's wonderful you share that with us.
Thanks, I really appreciate it. I try to put things in there for people who listen closely to the lyrics or read the lyrics. So we dropped down on both of the songs to an a cappella vocal just after a verse. And in Georgia Rose, I sing, "In the fields, my dream him still, he's waving like when I was young." So I'm talking about my grandfather. In Chinese, his name was Gung, and he would be in the fields when we would arrive, because he was always working in the garden and the crops, and he was a market gardener. So, and then in Sweet Collapse, what is that? Written 7-8 years later. Unfortunately, I've lost more of my family. So, so the original line was, "In the fields, my dream him still," and then in this song, it's I dream him still, I dream you all, with so many lost before the fall. And so I'm just singing about my family and that continuation of that story. So for anyone that wants to read the lyrics, I think they're online somewhere, or they're on my Bandcamp for both the songs. So if you have a read, the story might make sense. Yeah. And you know, anyone who's, we all get dealt those losses. If you're, by the time you're 25, certainly by 35, you've had some, you know, that's just life.
Yep. All right, Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit from
that journey.
We're going to play a little bit from that recording. I know this isn't the film clip that's coming up, or the video for it, which will be released tomorrow.
So this live, it's a live video you have. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, we did a live version.
So we'll play. We might just play a couple of minutes of it, and then just say a quick.
Back in the day when I had short hair.
yeah, it's a little bit different now. So, but that's cool. Let's.
Long hair makes you look younger, mate.
Yeah, long hair.
All right, let's take it in. Here's a little bit of Sweet Collapse.
Took the bandage off and let it breathe. gone, you can see. Well, from the port I kept moving. I said a river to the sea. Sometimes I was in too deep. Well, take a hold of me now, and my sweet collapse. 'Cause we ain't going back. You heard me ride my road. Well, take a hold of me now. Well, take a hold of me now, and my sweet collapse. There were nights I barely felt the cold. Other days was young but feeling old. And times I barely recognized you or recognize myself. And take a mirror off the shelf, yeah, yeah. And take a hold of me now, and my sweet collapse. 'Cause we ain't going back. You heard me ride my road. Well, take a hold of me now. Well, take a hold of me now, and my sweet collapse. Yeah. Hey.
All right. Beautiful, Matt. Absolutely beautiful, mate. I'll just cut it off. Obviously, I didn't run the whole thing, mate, because I've got to leave something for the people to tune into, mate, and look it up. But MATT JOE GOW music is where you're looking for, music.com, where you can find it. And tomorrow, look out for the release of the clip that goes with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Look out for it. I'll chuck it up on my website as well. But I think it's debuting on Post to Wire, which is a really cool Americana vlog site. So it'll premiere there, but it'll be on YouTube and everywhere eventually.
Very nice. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to thank you for your time, Matt, but I'm also going to bring up our other next guest, Rusty Brown, who you've been on the show with before. Just to say a quick g'day to you, Matt. I'm sure you'd like to reconnect.
Oh, good, mate. Yeah. All good.
Welcome back, Rusty.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Good. I've been to a funeral today, so a
Oh,
little somber, but
sorry to hear that.
a great celebration of a man. He was 87, so he's lived a good life. There's some funny stories, man. Wow. This guy was a character, and that's how his life was lived. Very gentle man, but he was a character. And we heard all the stories today. There was a lot of laughing going on in that at that funeral parlor today. I know that sounds weird, but it was pretty cool. It was very cool, actually.
That's a nice way to go out, I reckon.
Yeah.
To have a laugh and tell a story at a funeral, mate, is always good, and it's obviously a good tribute to that person. So sorry to hear that news.
Mr. Kevin Elms.
Right.
Mr. Kevin Elms. He was he's the longest serving trainer in history in the AFL. He did Fitzroy, I think, for 52 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Long time. It's good though. Anyway,
yeah.
How are you, man? You're looking good. You're looking good with your long hair and your big guns are blazing there underneath.
I do have the long hair. Yeah, that's what happens. You can't stop going to the barber, and your hair gets long. So
Yeah. Well, my hair went blonde
Did it?
from a bottle. Yeah.
Oh, can't really
They
dye
shaved
my
my
hair.
beard off.
My hair's black, and I don't think I could ever dye it. It would just be a bit. It wouldn't work. I don't think. So, yeah.
Look at us giving hairdressing
I just
tips
washed.
to the masses.
I've been on tour, right? So this is the first time I've had like a night to myself. So I actually
Yeah.
like washed my hair and stuff. It's like real fluffy, you know. So I'm like, oh, this is, I'm feeling so fresh and clean after Tamworth.
Yeah.
G'day, Rusty. Lovely to see you, mate. Let's get Az to take off his hat and we'll have a hair discussion.
Yeah, no hair ideas, guys. Kind of jealous of you washing your hair and growing it long and Rusty dyeing.
Yeah, I know.
Options.
The thing is, you can wear a different hat every day, though.
Yeah, correct. And I do a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Rusty.
you want to make use of your hair while you have it, I guess, right? So
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely to hear you talk about Kevin Elms. He actually got mentioned on the couch on Fox Footy earlier in the week because Jonathan Brown, obviously, his dad being a former Fitzroy player. Jonathan Brown went
he
and
was
saw him
there,
as well.
actually.
Yeah.
He actually carried the coffin out. They were all there. Michael Voss was there. Kevin Elms. Michael Voss. Jonathan Brown. Luke Parker was there. Johnson was there. There's some more. Pike was there. Get this one. This is a funny one, but a very good one. There was a guy there. Oh Lord, I've forgotten his name now. Hawkins, was it Hawkins? He used to play for Fitzroy. He was a skinny. Oh, I should know his name. His name was Hawkins, something Hawkins. And I said to the boys, that guy over there used to play for Fitzroy, and I think he played with the Swans. And so I went over to him and I said, "Oh, excuse me, did you used to play with the Swans?" He said, "Oh, he only played there 1 year." And I can't believe I've forgotten his name because I knew his name straight away. And he said, "Oh, this is." I said, "Oh, hi, I'm Rusty." He goes, "Are you Rusty from Electric Mare?" And I went, "Oh, no. Are you serious?" Hawkins, skinny. He played for Fitzroy, Swans, and Collingwood.
Hawkins,
Doesn't matter.
Doug Hawkins.
Doesn't matter.
Nah.
No. He was a skinny left footer.
Yeah.
On the halfback flank. Doesn't matter. Look, we're probably boring you, Matty.
What I wanted to do is just quickly, obviously, Rusty, you've just been on a big tour that's had its challenges with Under the Southern Stars. It was a massive thing, 3 years in the making, or cancelled for pretty much 3 years in a row. Matt, you've gone and done the same thing on obviously a smaller scale, but the challenges around touring at the moment, I just wanted you two to just quickly touch on that before we, obviously you're about to have a little rest for 5 more minutes, Matt, and Rusty's going to go the other way and go on a big tour. So just interested in a little bit of advice for some fellow musos out there of what they can expect in today's world right now.
Well, for me, there was a lot of protocols that you got to, health protocols that you got to deal with, which is totally cool. So everyone should be still aware of, that COVID's out there and we can all still get it and that. But without being a health expert, I just want to say that, you should just still be confident you can go out. I think a lot of people aren't confident at the moment. I don't want to kill my own thing off, but I'm thinking like indoors and so that some people, a little bit not too sure whether they can, but I went to a lot of places all around Australia, and it was a good thing. But I just really hope that people get out there again. I mean, I've seen concerts like Blues Fest and what was the other one? Mully or something. That was people for miles, man, going seeing these gigs. Look, we had a great time on ours. Lots of driving, lots of laughing, lots of. I tell you, here's my best bit of advice: get an Airbnb with enough rooms, and don't worry about a hotel anymore. For the cost of our tour was $187 a night. $187. If we wanted to go in a hotel, it's $1,000 a night.
Yeah, easily.
If you want everyone to have their own rooms, and in an Airbnb, they can have their own rooms.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, especially in Sydney. Yeah, expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
And
We
the other
stayed-
challenge, Matt, the
stayed
challenge that you just
university.
faced was some of your music gear going missing. That's not ideal.
Challenge.
Oh God!
About to start the gig.
With my gear going missing, is that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, some things are almost back to normal, and that's why it almost surprises you when some things are completely not normal. So flying was nowhere near what it used to be. It was absolutely terrible. My gear didn't show up. I was delayed for 4 or 5 hours, delayed for another 2 hours, an hour and a half the next day. My guitarist gear didn't turn up. Heaps of other people didn't get their guitars turn up. They came on the next flight. The baggage handlers didn't know what they were doing, were putting it on the next flight, miscalculating things. So that was an absolute disaster. But, although there will be a lot of people who just refuse to go out, I don't think the numbers are the same. Well, they're not the same as what they used to be. But yeah, this last festival, our shows were packed. They were great. We had a lot of people there, right up at the stage for some of it. So it was great to be back in the swing of things in that sense. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. But yeah, it's not quite the same. So you've got to be aware that you can get lulled into a false sense of security with some really good shows, and then suddenly you're reminded that you've gone through a pandemic and things aren't quite the same. But yeah, I would agree with Rusty. Things like Airbnbs are better for the most part. I think. I mean, this is a huge space I'm in Sydney, right? I wouldn't be able to afford a hotel big. Right? So, but Airbnb's better, I think, for the most part. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, because I like to harass everybody.
Yes. Now, Rusty, tell me how obviously you've, as I said, you've just done a wonderful tour. Now, as you're well aware, mate, Lovey and I, who's another member of the podcast, we were beside ourselves with excitement. We got to see an entree. We went out and saw you and the lads from Electric Mary play out in Faulkner, and you teased us with your beautiful show, and I thought, fantastic. Can't wait to go and see him under the Southern Stars. We get down to Hastings, and everyone goes, "Oh, who are you here to see?" And I said, "Oh, look, pretty keen to see Rusty Brown, Electric Mary." And the bloke goes, "Oh, they're not here." And I thought, "Oh, geez, Rusty sold me a dud or whatever," but then the dreaded COVID got you, mate.
Yeah, well, I was talking to somebody about it today. I actually knew 34 people that got it from that gig.
Whoa!
So, yeah, I'd driven all the way to Goulburn with the backline gear, the stuff we had, and our bass player Al messaged me and said, "Mate, you better check yourself because I've got COVID." And sure enough, I did a test and I had it. So I had to do a U-turn home, and we had to stay home for a week. So we missed the Melbourne shows and the Newcastle show, or Melbourne when I say Melbourne, where we missed Maitland, we missed Hastings, and we missed Yarrawonga. So that was over that weekend. And then
ship feeling.
Beg your pardon?
That's a ship feeling.
Yeah, you know what? again, like I'm not a health expert, but you know what was the shittest feeling? The feeling that we had it, but we actually weren't sick.
Right.
But we couldn't go anywhere because we didn't want to give it to anybody.
Mm.
But we actually weren't sick. We didn't, we didn't have coughs.
Yeah.
We didn't, I don't know. Actually, I actually felt sick after I came back from the whole tour. 3 weeks later, I actually felt sick. And I didn't have any reason, but I had a cough. So, maybe it works on different people different ways. We've got to be aware of it, and we've got to take care of each other and make sure we, I still wear masks, to be honest, even though it's not mandatory anymore. If I go inside a shop, I'll wear a mask.
Mm.
Look, I've only robbed 2 places, but that's okay.
All right.
Disclaimer, as per the disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm joking.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to let Matt go. Matt, I know I said 15, 20 minutes, mate. We could talk forever with you, but I thought it was important that we did what this show's about, mate, and reconnect people and connect people to new people again. So good to connect to two guys. Hopefully Rusty can get to one of your gigs and you can do the same, and we can meet all in person at a gig very shortly.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Don't see why not. We're both rock and roll bands, so it'll happen.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Sounds
You
good.
take-
All right,
Good to see you.
Stay safe.
good luck tomorrow, and look forward to the new single being out tomorrow, Sweet Collapse.
Cheers. See ya.
See you, Matt. Rusty.
Yeah, here I am.
Now, Matt, we've got you on as obviously a wonderful musical, talented guest, but let's just touch on your other love. As filled me in a bit earlier, how's your son coping, mate, with the bad news with the injury in his first game at a new club?
He's not too bad.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not too bad. He just has to wait for the surgeons meeting on May the 16th. And then basically we go from there. We'll see what happens. But we had to wait a bit. Yeah, thank you. We had to wait a little bit for the swelling to go down. He's been in the gym actually doing upper body stuff. He just came back from the gym. So yeah, look, he had he came to the funeral. You there? He came to the funeral for me today, and the after the wake was at North Heidelberg. So he was good. A lot of the North Heidelberg people got around him. Of course, they're not happy he left, but he went for the job. There was a job, and the Whittlesea people are looking after him, extremely well as well. But I think he felt, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That doesn't mean they won't crash him when they play him.
Yeah, exactly. It's always disappointing, when you start a season well, like you said, Rusty, kicked the first 2 goals against the reigning premiers. Must have been up and about, and then all of a sudden, bang! How quickly it can all come to a grinding halt. And we wish Curtis well in his recovery coming up. Great kid. Not just saying that because he's your boy, Rusty, but he's a super footy talent, and I just wish him all the best with his recovery. So shout out to Curtis.
Thank you.
Good luck, mate. All right,
Mate,
Rusty.
I'll shout at him.
Just before you do, mate, how good is this feeling to be able to do this again?
Well, I think I've put on 4 kilos since I've been home, so it won't be that good, actually.
Yeah, look good in this shot, though.
Yeah, I lost just over 8 kilos before I went on tour. I think I put on half of it back on when I've been home. Easter was very good to me. Yeah, it was great, man. It was great to go out there. It was great to connect with fans. It was great, because I walked out into most of them were outdoor gigs. I walked out in the end, and just to get a feel for. I like to watch the people from the front. And you know, quite a few people grabbed me and said, you know, we've never seen you guys before. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Blah blah blah. When you're playing, whatever, you know, da da da. And that part's good because I like connecting with new people, old fans, and then of course connecting with bands on the bills as well. Although we kind of weren't allowed to hang around each other. We did a few times, but I think some of the bands took it way more serious than others did. But that was totally their prerogative because, you know, again, it's a health thing. Who knows? Like I said, some people get COVID and don't have anything wrong. I had a mate who got it and went straight to hospital. Do you know what I mean? Because he couldn't breathe. So it's not a thing to be messed with.
Just on that, Rusty, what was the kind of protocol at some of these big festivals? Like, what was the deal? Was it a rapid test the day of? Like, how did it work? And I know that
the day
because
of.
I understand if it's a rapid test and everyone tests negative, it's really disappointing that then the bands can't mingle. Because as you said, mate, that's part of the magic of how these festivals happen, right? Especially for some of the early acts that get to mix and, you know, with some of your idols, mate. I mean, you loved some of these bands that came out.
Well, I did meet up with the people from Cheap Trick.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. Rick took me by the hand one time and took me into the van with Robin, and we discussed songs that maybe he thought that people wouldn't know. But of course, because I'm a fan, I knew. And then I became a real fanboy and started singing the choruses to Robin. And then I realized it was time to get out of there. But a little while later, he come with Electric Mary Boys. We were just chatting, and we were in this. We were at Southport Sharks footy ground, and and Robin came over with the set list and said to me, "Oh, this is what we're going to play today." And mate, I was just chuffed with that. You know, small things amuse small minds, but to me, you know, when Robin was bothered to do that to me, who's a nobody, to them, I mean, you know, there's every chance the world will never see each other again. But he brought the set list over and showed me. He could see with the smile on my face that I was just loving, you know, he'd point to a song and I'd sing a little bit of it because I went complete fanboy. Then I was trying to show, you know, I'm not just saying this, I actually am a fan, you know what I mean?
No, it's super cool.
But anyway, that was very cool. I'd done a show with Dax before, though, a few years ago, the drummer at the Cherry Bar. We played some AC/DC songs, and I got to sing Surrender that night. So that was a cool thing. And we stayed in contact on Facebook, and we still talk, you know, a little bit on Messenger. If he's on, I always say hello, or he'll ask how I'm going, you know, whatever. It's not every day, but, you know, it's still cool. It's just a cool thing. Look, I heard the word resilience get thrown about before while I was waiting on the interchange bench. And I was saying to a couple of people last week, we were talking about different things, and I said, you know, I think it's just a historical thing that people have the wrong impression of band people. Like, band people are very resilient because lots of things don't go right. And that's why when the things that do go right, it's such a joyous moment. But lots of things go wrong, and we're always on our toes to make sure, you know, we can fix something like that, especially crew members. I mean, I met crew members up there, and I've told them without a word of a lie, like, your name's on our door list at every gig you ever want to go to for the rest of Electric Mary's time. Like, they were so good to us. I mean, we're first band on a 6-band bill, and these guys who don't know us are treating us like we're the main act. And awesome. Making it so easy for us to just do our thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's
It's not a
fantastic, isn't it?
competition.
Yeah. As I
Oh,
was saying before about with what we've all been through in various degrees, it's so nice to be important, but it's important to be nice, isn't it? And it's amazing
Yeah.
how rewarding that can be for anybody when someone makes you feel like you're the number one person or whatever it might be at that time, and they often don't realise they're just going about their normal thing, but you appreciate it so much. It's great to hear you say that, Rusty, because I think that's probably one thing that we might have lost a little bit with the pandemic, that we all still like to be made to feel special, and when someone does it, it's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like what the Melbourne Footy Club have done to Aaron, because he just walks around now going, "Hey, I'm back from Melbourne. How you going?"
Yeah.
What's it like to have the best side in the AFL, Barracan for them? I mean, I know what it's like, but what do you
mate,
think?
after 40 odd years, it's finally our time, mate. I'm bottling this. I'm pinching myself every week. Still can't believe people talk so highly of us, as where there's us and then there's daylight at the moment. I don't believe that's the truth, to be perfectly honest. There's definitely a couple of teams that are really clipping at our heels. Your Swannies,
who
one of those.
Who are they? Yeah, they could be. But it's a great feeling. Surely it must be something like Richmond. When Richmond were in their heyday in those last few years, you just knew, even though they weren't playing that well during a game, at any second, the switch would get flicked.
Yep.
And 3 goals would be on the board just like that. And the whole complexion of the game would change.
That's the biggest thing I've noticed with Melbourne, or even this year, and we just completed round 6. To me, they're like a racehorse that's first or second up. They're not even into their third gear yet. And they're not, and it's not an arrogance, but it's an arrogance, if that makes sense. Their belief in their system, in their teammate, that he'll do what he has to do, I'll do what I've got to do, and they take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
let's get back to music now. That's enough of Melbourne.
No,
who are you back for? Hang on, you're Essendon, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going wonderfully, mate. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. We are going to talk footy just a little bit in a second, mate. But let's just.
I'll tell you your problem, then you can say yes or no.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on, Ed.
Give it to me. I've had a couple of suggestions during the week, but please give me another one.
I know exactly what your problem is.
Go on, tell me. Yeah.
Your recruiters, mate. They think they're rock stars. Oh, Essendon have done so well again during the draft period. We didn't back down to anyone. We didn't do this. Yeah, you didn't pick up anyone that's any good either. Tell me them.
Oh, I'm happy with Darcy Parish.
Okay. 1.
Unfortunately, Harrison Jones got injured at the start of this year. Nick Cox is like a lot of high draft picks. He's having second-year blues.
Yeah. Tell that to the Swannies kids who are in about their 23rd game, and they're our best players.
Who have got an academy.
Here we go. Here we go.
Right out there.
You've got what's Herd's sons in? They're in the Essendon Academy, mate. So you've got one too. Don't worry about it.
We've got
anyway,
one.
Go on to the music. Let's get back to the music. I don't want to fluster you. You won't have
I'm not
anything to
flustered,
say.
but I'm lucky enough.
His name's Dodoria, isn't it? That's his name. He's your problem. Yeah, mate. He's been there too long and he's got no one. Don't get me started.
Yeah, sure.
There you go. I can tell you, I found someone who could be a saviour, cuz.
No, this would be good.
A previous bomber, you just got to get him back. This boy.
Oh, yeah. He's kicked 16 on the weekend.
What an unbelievable effort. He looks a little bit different than he used to. but I can tell you what, you go back through what he's done.
Cupido?
16
Yep.
goals he kicked on the weekend for Gary Gary, I think the team's called. 155 points. He kicked 100 points by himself, right? So he's kicked 27 for the season already in 3 games he's played.
And mate, what a magnificent effort. And this is not said judgmental. I think he had a few troubles as well, like at various stages. So, mate, all credit to the man that he's back doing what obviously he loves and still has a great passion and a talent for. So, yeah, I did say that. On the topic of old blokes and going back to their love, Jodie being a Benalla girl, there's a Indigenous side, Rumballara, who have been around for a fair while, even going back to when Jodie's dad played footy back in the sort of 70s and that. Eddie Betts had a kick for them on the weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad mark either.
Couldn't quite get him over the line, but still managed to take a pretty good mark. So, which is great.
Yeah, I think
he's good.
As we know, Rusty, it's so good to see AFL and ex-AFL players back into the system in local footy.
Yep.
No better than one of our all-time favourites, Brent Harvey.
He hasn't played a game this year, though.
That's okay. He's got plenty of time. Plenty of time, mate.
Yeah.
But as we know, Rusty, we talked about how important it is to bank wins early in a season. That was always my concern as Melbourne coming into the new year, premiership hangover, that whole story. To bank a couple of wins and still not playing well, I reckon we've played each game. I reckon we've played about 20 minutes of footy, which is exciting to get over the line of every one of those. So who knows what's going to happen next, but you got to take them while you can, don't you? It's going to be it's an exciting year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of exciting, Rusty, you're about to embark hopefully your camera comes good in 2 seconds.
As he leaves us momentarily.
Beautifully. Exit stage left. Hopefully he comes back in a second.
He is the triple threat, though, because he comes on as a music guest. Mate, your timing's impeccable. We're just about to talk up your magnificent tour coming up, and you exited stage left.
There you go. That's all right.
Yeah, we start on Friday. Start on Friday in Hobart.
There you go.
Never been to Hobart. Republic Bar in Hobart, April the 29th, with Shotgun Mistress and Jackson the Wayward. It's going to be great. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you're spreading the love, Electric Mary love, mate, as you've always done. Fantastic to get back to some of these places. Any of these bring back great memories? Obviously, the Espy is an exciting one for me, mate. Thanks for scheduling that perfectly on my birthday. So I'm going to make sure.
Oh, nice.
So the 27th of May, we'll make sure we pack out the Espy one more time, mate. But yeah, any of those other than the Espy, obviously being a Melbourne boy, anything else there that's one of your favourite venues? Or obviously you mentioned Hobart that you haven't been to before, but anything else in that list?
The Bridge Hotel in Sydney, which is Saturday, May 21st. We actually were on tour with Glenn Hughes, was in Deep Purple, and on this particular day, it was a Saturday, I think, he didn't play. So we decided to take a gig by ourselves, and so we're his support band. So his manager said, "Oh, Glenn wants to come to the gig." And I'm like, "Really?" It's like, it's his day off, man, you know? Why does he want? He could just put his head through the curtain every night and watch us if he wants to. He's like, no, he wants to come, and he did. He came to the gig, and we hung around a little bit, you know, and yeah, I don't know. He just wanted to be there. And I think it was the next day. Oh, we would have played the next day, and maybe a couple of days later on the plane, we got to chatting a bit more. Like his was a cool story. For those of you who don't know Glenn Hughes, he was in Deep Purple Mark III, which had Burn, Stormbringer, Come Taste the Band was Deep Purple Mark IV. But he was one of my heroes when I was, probably 14 or something like that, 14, 15. I just loved David Coverdale from Whitesnake and Glenn Hughes. They were my two favorite singers and probably still are to this day. I don't know if I've ever told you this story before. He only wanted a female to drive him around, right? This was a small tour. And the lady who was doing it couldn't do it on a certain day. And I said, I'll do it. And I think she asks, and he said it was okay. So I drove him around. I hadn't met him yet. This was early in the tour. And I took him to rehearsal, just said hello. I left. And later in that day, I took the guitarist to the ABC, and Glenn Hughes went to the ABC as well to do an interview. And he was in his managers from Australia, or was at the time. And he was in his Porsche. And he said, can you look after the car in case any parking police come? I said, yeah, no worries. And he walked off, and I saw him come back in the mirror, and he sort of, I wound down the window, and he said, are you Rusty from Electric Mary? And I said, yeah. He said, it's Glenn, no? I said, no, I didn't say anything. So when Glenn Hughes come back out, he said, oh, you didn't say anything. And I just said, well, I'm that big a fan, I probably would have talked your head off. So I just was in the moment, and I loved it. And he said, oh, that's very cool. Do you want to go out for dinner? I said, yep. So we went out for dinner, and I asked him everything I wanted to ask him. And, we talked about Richie Blackmore, and him and David Coverdale were texting each other at the time. It was quite surreal. I know that we're all mates and we're all humans, but for them two, my two heroes, to be texting while I'm having dinner with him was just mental. It was just mental.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great guy, though. Great guy.
It's amazing, though, Rusty, as you said, though, how real those people are. And the only sort of person that I can think of in terms of that stardom was I met Bono outside his hotel when they came out here on a tour. And I spoke to him, and I felt like I was talking to a mate, the way he spoke to me. I actually gave one of my friends had written a book of poetry, and I gave it to him, and he said, what a kind gesture. What an amazing gesture to give me that. And I said, oh, it's come from a friend, and he came over as well, and he spoke to us. Now, I don't care what he's done before or after, but for that 5 or 10 minutes, he looked me in the eye. He held my hand the whole time he shook my hand. And I thought, as you said about surreal, I thought, what's going on here?
It's unreal, man.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I've said it to people. Yeah. And then luckily later on in life, I went to Ireland for a holiday, and I walked into just a bar in Temple Bar in Dublin, and there was this band playing in the corner. And me being the, I suppose, at times ignorant Aussie that I was, I went, oh, how good are that band? They're obviously a U2 tribute band. And the barman looked at me with absolute disdain and said, you're fucking kidding. It is U2. I went, oh, of course it is.
Was it?
Yeah, funny. Yeah.
Was it U2?
It was, yeah. And they were in a band. They were in a band room the size of, maybe the top bar at the Cherry Bar, smaller than that.
Wow.
And I turned around and waved.
And that was
after I'd met him. And me being fanboy, I went up and said, you won't remember this, but when you were in Australia, and it was early on in their sort of megalomania style, I said, I gave a book of poems. And he goes, yeah. And he said that was in the hotel in South Yarra. I thought,
yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm happy with that.
I'd be taking that too. I've been living off that for 5 years. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
All right, Rusty, we better let you start resting that voice, mate. You got an exciting time ahead in the next few weeks for sure. I bet you're pinching yourself to get back out there.
Yeah, it was. I'm so excited that this was a little bit later on in the night, because I actually got into the Canadian clubs today, and I think I drank a bit too quickly, and I'm like, okay, somebody's got to drive me home. So I made Curtis drive me home with his knee reconstructed knee, and here I am with the laying back in the car. I was like, wow. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I didn't come on and, be a drunk in front of anyone. Not that they'll ever know because they're not looking right. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, no. Giving away all me secrets.
Mate, we love all your work, mate. That's why we get you to come on.
A little bit of
Well,
Vaseline on the
thank you.
lens, Rusty. You always look good, mate.
It does look a bit like that too. Or it
Yeah.
might be that you've never cleaned your computer properly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Clean the
so it'd be
smudge off.
like that. All right, you lads.
All right, mate. We'll
Beautiful,
speak
mate.
soon, Rusty.
Have a great fun,
Thank
mate.
you
We'll
very
see you
much
at
for
the FP on the
having me.
27th.
Yeah, happy birthday. So you'll be what, 33 that day or 34?
Absolutely.
I
You're
know,
counting
Jesus.
back, mate. Give us your famous number 33, just as you pinned a number. There's a random one for you. Who you got?
Yeah. For who? Which side?
Yeah, pick any side. The most
33?
iconic 33 that you know of. Any era.
Wow. That's a good one. Well, I remember Greg Lambert for the Swans in the 70s. I don't even know where. Did Terry Tripp wear 33? He might have.
Ooh.
33 for the 33.
It was definitely in the 30s, I'm pretty sure, Terry Thripp.
Yeah. I don't even know where's 33 now for the Swans. 33. No, I don't have one. Greg Lambert.
I don't think
There
we've
you
got
go.
one. Demons at the moment. But there's
70s.
two famous demons.
Oh,
Going
Greg
back,
Healy.
going back to
Hassaman? No.
Greg Sugar
No.
Healy as
Greg
one.
Sugar Healy was one.
Yeah.
And the Wiz.
Who's the Wiz?
Was Wiz 33? I
Jeff
thought the Wiz
Farmer.
was 31.
No. Yeah, you didn't
Ron
wear
Barassi
braces,
was
mate.
31.
Wiz for 31, I know that.
Yep. There you go. What about 27, just on that date? Because it's going to be a key date in May. 27.
Max Cruz.
Who have you got, Cuz?
Max Cruz wore 27. I don't even know.
Oh, 27 for me. Simon Madden, one of the greatest one of the greatest players of all time.
Who's the big ruckman? Jason Ball wore 27 for the Swannies in the premiership year.
Yeah.
Was
Yep.
Jason Ball? Yeah.
Yep, Jason Ball.
Uh,
The Demons got
27.
27.
Oh, Jay. Oh, hey, hang on a second. Justin McInerney, who I coached as a junior for a few years, wears number 27 for the Swans right now. How on earth could I forget that?
Went to school with my son.
Did he?
He's a Marcelin boy. Yep.
So that means that your son went to school with my son.
Yeah, but your
Because they were
boy's
at
a
the
little bit
same
older.
time.
Yeah,
No,
so
younger.
Jack's
Younger.
Jack's 19 in August, so he's first year out this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Sean
27.
White. Sean White.
J-Man.
For the
Sean White.
Yeah.
Good
Another one
player.
gone too
Good
soon.
player.
And
Scottish, not Irish. Born in Scotland, not
He was.
Irish.
we
Well,
put him in
very
the
good
Irish crew,
fact,
though. We
Rusty.
threw him in the Irish
Yes.
crew.
Very good fact,
Yeah.
but everyone calls him the Irish recruit.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was always Irish as far as we're concerned.
Wasn't Rod Stewart also, who's a Scotsman, not born in Scotland, born somewhere else, like England or Wales or even Ireland? Can't remember.
maybe,
He's
I'm
not
sure.
born in Scotland though. He's not born in Scotland.
Not sure.
Any other 27s? 27.
Ingus.
Well, my
Brownlow
birthday's
medalist?
on
Dual Brownlow medalist.
who?
Keith Greig.
Keith
One number
Gregg, yeah.
27.
Very good. Yeah. Not only a dual Brownlow medalist, year after he won them
Yeah,
consecutively.
consecutive years. Yep.
Like
73, 74.
Harvey win his consecutively as well.
He may have, yeah.
Robert
He may
Harvey, I think he did. Well, I'm born on the 8th, so who's 8? Who's the best 8 going around right now?
Well, I don't know about right now, but I flash back to the Bomber days. Who have you got? The little famous redhead.
Oh, we've got a couple of premiership players. One number 8, Neil Clark, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Played 84-85. and then he became a runner. But unfortunately, Neil suffered a lot with depression and took his own life, unfortunately. And then Darren Boris Buick, premiership player,
Oh, yeah.
wore number 8.
What-
And Rusty would remember Jack Myercheck. He wore
Oh,
number
right.
8 for the Bombers, played about 10 games, father of
And that's-
Brody.
Yeah. Hey, I've got one for you. He's a bloke I met the other week. Where is he? Oh, Lordy. There he is.
Number 8?
No, you can't see it, can you? Hang on, how do I make you see it? No. Oh, can you see it
There
there?
you go.
Oh yeah, the big sheets.
Yeah.
Great man. Yeah, I did say that.
There he
I did
is.
say that.
Great pick.
Kevin Sheedy. He was very intelligent. He said he's 74, I think, or 75. He spoke
Wow.
extremely well. And someone said to him, where's the next team going to come from? And he said, well, and you can tell he thinks outside the square straight away.
He does it.
I hope I'm not getting him into trouble when I say this. He said, I reckon the next team comes from Newcastle. And everyone looked at me. He said, well, Tasmania's only got 500,000 people and Newcastle's got 500,000 people. And Isaac Heaney comes from Newcastle, and tell me the last player from Tasmania that played that was good. He said, I would be going down that path, looking through those areas, surrounding areas of Newcastle, where there's a lot of people and there's a big growth there. So I'm not saying he's right, but it was an interesting thing that he suggested. You know what I mean? I mean, Isaac Heaney might be a one-off. Maybe no one ever comes out of Newcastle again. But, you know, because he's been successful and because he's good, maybe there are others that come out of Newcastle. Yeah.
Well, we might get a team out of Dimmola. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a good stomping ground for the Bombers, I tell you.
Yeah, it was actually Swans originally, so don't worry about that.
No, we gave you Neville Fields, mate, and you gave us all the Danahers. That was a good deal.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you reckon we've got bad recruiters?
We had Terry first. And all he used to do was fall over. I spoke to Ian Stewart one day. Remember Ian Stewart? And he said, you know, I
Coach Sydney.
Yeah.
For the Swans.
South Melbourne.
Yeah.
South Melbourne, Carlton, and is that it? Did you coach anybody else?
No, played at Saints and played at Richmond. One of only 2 players, I think. I might be wrong, to win a Brownlow medal at 2 different clubs.
Yeah, but he coached Carlton too, and he coached the Swans, South Melbourne. But he said to me, I met him one day. He used to own a hotel in Brighton, and he said, you know, a lot of people blame me for the Neville Fields Danaher, but it wasn't. It was Des Tuddenham. He was the coach of the Swans at the time. And he was an old Essendon before that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he got Neville Fields, because he knew that Neville Fields was a good player. And he was. But now I think Neville Fields went back to Essendon.
He went back to Essendon.
After a couple of years.
And in his first game, in Fields' first game for Sydney against Essendon, he broke Danaher's jaw.
Did he? No, we never saw Neil Danaher. We never saw Neil Danaher, but we did have
Tony.
What's the other ones? Who? Tony Danaher. Yeah, we did have Tony. He played some good footy for us too. He's a good player. He was very good.
Well, Chris Danaher's son now plays for Greensborough.
Oh, does he? Okay. Yep. The Slime. Nice.
Yep.
That's one of Aaron's teams he likes to kiss. The Slime.
Please.
Yeah, you go. Montmorency, actually. Big 1-point winners over Heidelberg for anyone who's interested.
Massive win. To
That's
be
a
honest,
big win. That's a big win.
yeah, and famous number 8s for the Demons. I'll
Yater.
finish close on that, but yeah, Graham Yates was one that I used to go down and to see him at training as a youngster. I would have been of only, I don't know, 10 maybe onwards, up to 16. And I'd always wander in the rooms on a Thursday night, and no one would be down there, in the pouring rain, and wander in the rooms. And Graham Yates was the first one in that first set of lockers. And at that time we had, some good players in there. Well, I've always thought they were good players, amongst that mix. But he was one player that always said, "G'day, mate, how are you?" and brought me over, and always made sure I had a chat to some of the other blokes, there's a couple in that first 10 players that really got themselves into that ego of being a number 1 to 10 and didn't come across as always, as heroes. Sometimes are that, they're not all there. They're not all what you dream of when you finally get to meet one of them. But Graham Yates was definitely one of those, and still to this day is an absolute champ.
A bloke who you might not remember has been a bit younger, but I'm pretty sure Rusty would remember, who played at, when there was only 12 clubs, he played a quarter of them, talking about possibilities of teams coming into the comp in the next couple of years. This guy is a former Taswegian. Brent Quaswell wore number 8 at Melbourne, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Played at Melbourne, North, Carlton.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyone else?
I think that's it.
We didn't have one last stint somewhere else. My two favorite Melbourne players are Ray Biffin and Hassaman.
No. Well, Hassaman's an Eltham gentleman.
Is he? Is he
Yeah,
still alive?
My eldest son, yeah, he's still alive. My eldest son.
What nationality is he? Because Hassaman is not a.
Oh, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you, but I don't think Hass is like his real name. Like if you Google him or whatever, it's something Hassaman. I think he just got that.
Hassaman.
Yeah.
I don't have a favourite Essendon player. You've never had one that was any good. But I have my favourite Melbourne player now is
Come on,
only
the side that's won 2 flags.
Yeah. Hang on a second. In the 30s, we were one of the best sides going, mate.
Didn't win flags, though.
There's no doubt, like Carlton in the 80s, you would have cheated. No problem at all with that. No problem at all. You only have to listen to a few things Kevin Sheedy talks about. But my favourite player now is and one that I'm proud of in my own mind is because I used to sit on the couch and say to anyone who's listened, I like this Fitch. This guy, he looks weird to me, but he's with that stupid hairdo, but he's good. And when I look at him now, he's just got confidence written all over him. Like when he goes for the ball, I reckon 9 times out of 10 he gets it.
Yep.
His brother goes all right too. His brother's, I think, a little bit older. He plays for Warrandyte in the Eastern Footy League.
Right.
Last year, I think he kicked a lazy 20, his brother. So there's a bit of skill in the family.
Yeah.
Let's weigh that up though. AFL and Warrandyte. Okay, hang on a second.
But as you know, Rusty, you've watched a lot of local
I'm joking.
Footy. No, I know, but there's a lot of blokes there's a bloke playing for North Heidelberg. He's still playing and playing pretty well, who, for whatever reason, didn't quite get the right opportunities at the highest level, like in Shane Harvey. He's still one of the best local footballers I've ever seen play.
Yeah. He's playing on the wing at the moment, running around on the wing.
And still getting the footy, I bet.
He's 47 plus. No, he's not. He's got to be 40, though, at least.
Have to be, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He would be. There's definitely some famous younger brothers or older brothers in some instances. The Uze brothers were 2. And his brother could play, that's for sure. The Mullanes.
He was very good, yes. Yes.
Sean, we know how tough Darren Mullane was. I played footy against Sean Mullane. Wouldn't made a tougher player, but a fair player. Like whack you, but be the first to pick you up. Let's go and have a beer afterwards, sort of thing.
Yep. All right, boys.
Thank Lordy that doesn't happen anymore. Although I did see this a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, folks, if you're not interested in local footy. North Heidelberg was playing Bandura. I don't know who the Bandura guy was. He was in the ruck. He's a big dude with tattoos and he just looked like an old school bloke. Anyway, as they were running towards the boundary, and North's got the mesh fence now, the black new mesh fence type thing. As they were going towards the boundary, and this is how my mind remembers it, he bumped the North guy over the line and he was going into the fence. But in this same movement, he put his arm around the North guy and stopped him from going into the fence. It was like how good is that? If that was 1974, your face is going through the fence.
Yeah.
But that guy,
You're right.
it was a mad movement. That's how my brain remembers it in
Yeah.
slow motion. He hit him, knew possibly it was the wrong thing at the time, but got his arm around him and sort of dragged him into his own body and none of them got hurt, but it was unreal, man. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's
That's
cool.
good. That's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know his name, but whoever you are, that's very cool.
There you go.
Anyway.
We'll have to hunt him down. Let's just finish off with a couple of tips. Let's find our teams. All right, the Demons play the Hawks.
The COVID game.
Demons.
Now the COVID
Demons.
game. 3 players out, coaches out. It's a little bit scary. This
Mate,
COVID
Demons.
situation. We're into
Mate,
it.
what interim coach this year hasn't won a game yet? Not one.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we'll take Adam Uze to take the reins.
So who's your 3 players that are out?
Luke Jackson,
Can play.
absolutely massive loss. Keziah Pickett, bit of fire
Yeah,
up
can
forward.
play.
We'll take that. And the third one, I can't remember off the top of my head. I should know it because I just read it
Get
before.
back Lever and Viney, though.
The
Yeah,
third
it's
one's
true.
Tom Sparrow, who's been playing absolutely lights
Good.
out recently.
Mhm.
So that's going to be interesting. And let's
How's
hope.
your game?
Let's hope for any team,
Now-
and not just for my team, that there's only 3 at a time. Like West Coast just got decimated not long ago. We
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want that in our game, do we?
Well, they have 16 people out in one game.
Oh, it was crazy. They played the
I
waffle.
think
team,
they
didn't
lost 8. And then the next day, the next lot tested, and they lost another 8. So they lost, as you said, 16
Right.
in 2 days.
Okay. But they
Well,
had
keep in mind
injuries
it's
as
only-
well.
Keep in mind,
Yeah.
it's only Wednesday. We play Saturday afternoon. Anything can happen between now and then. I'd be spreading them all over Melbourne as far as I'm concerned. No more training. Cotton wool them. The good part is strength to strength at the moment, and we're having a great period. Is Casey are on top, undefeated as well, which is their feeder team. Obviously, there's a list of players, at least half a dozen, that could easily be playing ones right now. So it's an exciting time. But the last number 8 I'll finish on is a player that we just recruited this year and super handy, let me tell you. Just played his first game, but sadly he'll probably go out with concussion protocol, is Luke Dunstan in the number 8 this year. So great to see the number 8 back, but a pretty handy get.
Yeah, good get. Over 100 games with the Saints, and yeah, hard at it.
Yeah, so we all in agree that we think the Demons are going to get there. All
Yeah,
right,
Melbourne.
Bombers, Bulldogs. The Bulldogs bounce back. What have the Bombers really got? This is a critical one for both teams, really. What's your thoughts, Rusty?
Well, I got a big statement here. I don't think Footscray will make the 8, but I think they'll beat Essendon. So Footscray won't make the 8. There you go.
There you go.
You heard it
Big
first
scoop.
here on
Rusty scoop.
Rusty Football. Only
Does-
because they annoy me.
Look, I think we win because I'm still concerned, as others were last year, the Doggies defenders, lack of tall defenders.
Yeah, you've got an abundance of tall forwards that are good. Come on, mate.
Who are they going to?
It's not 1984.
Who are they
Who you
going to
got?
play in Peter? They've got no one to play in Peter Wright. They've got no one that tall.
So he's a match winner, is he?
Geez, you're hanging
He
your
has-
hopes on Peter Wright.
He has kicked 7 at Marvel.
I do like him though. He's a good player.
He actually goes about it pretty well. Better delivery from limited
Yeah, true.
chances, and
There's
he's
a lot to be
he
said
actually for a
for
bloke that tall, he's amazingly agile. If you're watching,
Yeah, no, he's good. I reckon they throw
Yeah.
Peter Foster on him though.
Peter Foster, ex Fitzroy and Footscray great.
Yeah.
I used
He
to
was
make a
good.
mess of the Demons. I only ever went to about 3 games as a kid because we were ordinary, and my uncle wanted to take me to games that were a genuine chance to win. And I'll never forget was Western Bulldog, Footscray back in the day, St Kilda, and occasionally I got to see Swannies, so South Melbourne, or if I was really lucky, it'd be North or an Essendon game, sneaky Essendon game. But there was, I obviously had Mark Jackson in the square with the Demons doing handstands back in the day, right? Losing his mind. Tony Lockett would absolutely destroy us and win for the Saints.
Yeah.
And then at the other end was Peter Foster for the Doggies. And
Yeah, he was a good player.
Good player.
and Simon Beasley and Terry Wallace absolutely
Yeah.
tearing us up in the rest of it. So they were interesting days growing up as a kid. I definitely I love them now, but just let's finish on 13 in a row. Okay, that's where the Demons are at the moment.
Good
The
effort.
next few games, we've got obviously Hawthorn, then we've got Freo over there.
Yeah.
We've got Sydney. I think that's here, isn't it? Not sure. Sorry, these 3 games are at the G, and then Brisbane.
Where at?
So now we're really going to find out where we're currently at in as far as 3 informed teams. Thoughts are?
I reckon we're the first team that beat you.
if we win those games, we become the first team to go 22.
Wow.
We could go unbeaten, mate, unbeaten, and we go the first. Obviously, win more than that, but that kicks us off and gets us going. Could we become the first team to win 22 in a row? Who knows?
You'll drop one that you're not expected to drop. That's the way the years always go.
Oh, absolutely.
makes
I
sense.
totally agree with that. Yep. And there's a chance.
Like you look at
Mark it down now. My chance is we drop one to North. Just wait.
mate.
No.
Just wait.
No. Right. You've been drinking your own bath water.
Oh, mate, I'll show you some of these texts he sends me, Rusty. He's got every right to be cock-a-hoop, but he's very cock-a-hoop about the Demons, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I've seen him crying in his soup when he used to buy me breakfast down at Miss Marie's in Rosanna.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so I'm just enjoying this little time, and hopefully we get to see a couple more of these. Let's see.
You haven't bought me breakfast for a while, just quietly.
Oh, you've been on tour and in lockdown, but look forward to the next catch up, Rusty. Absolutely. Before my
who's
birthday,
the next team? Who's the next team?
Yeah, let's finish off. We must have one more there. Swannies. Finish Sunday off at 4:40. Swannies versus the Lions. This game.
Yeah, I reckon we can beat them. We've got a couple of blokes out though. They're a good side. We go all right against Brisbane. Always have. So I don't know how that works because a game might have been 15 years ago, but for some reason we always go all right against Brizzy. They're a good side though. I reckon we can beat them at the SCG.
Yep.
We can smother good at the SCG. We smother teams.
Because it's a postage stamp.
That's a great ground to watch footy from, though. Have you ever been?
Yep.
The Gabba's good ground to watch footy from too, as well. Actually.
Yeah. Nice high stands. You're on top of it. Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
Let's finish on Swannies. Buddy Franklin must have been a pretty special moment. Who would have thought, mate? 10 years he's been there, and he's going to see that 10 years out and probably go again. Go for one more. Rusty, where do you extend him? 1,000 goals. What an absolute.
No, we signed him for 9 years.
Yeah, so he's going to go one more, isn't he?
Oh, I hope he does.
Yeah, he's looking
Yeah,
as
we
fit as
played a
he-
gig. We did an
Yeah.
Under the Southern Stars tour. We're in Queensland, and we just got back to just see the end of that thing, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
It was
incredible.
amazing. Like that game, like the next week, I think we played Footscray, and I said to my mate, "We'll lose this because the last quarter went for 2 hours." Two blokes got lost walking around the ground. Like,
Yeah, wasn't that funny?
what
Yeah.
were you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
What
been a
about
few
those
things
gooses
happening
having the picnic? What about those people having the picnic on the ground and Rampy having a bite of their pie?
I think spreading the
See
ashes
that?
was worse, wasn't it?
Oh, was someone spread the ashes?
I heard that as well. Yeah,
Yeah, someone spread the ashes.
someone took an opportunity to, grandpa or grandma, cop this.
I actually took my dad on tour. My dad passed away. Did I say that before?
No.
No,
I didn't tell you that. Yeah, so I got him from my brother in Adelaide, and I took him on tour. I actually left him at the last gig. I had to go back and get him. He didn't say anything, no. Yeah, so I took
kept
his
it to
ashes
himself,
on
which is
tour.
good.
I took the ashes on tour, and I took them out on stage. And I said to everyone, I don't want you to think this is morbid, but my dad never saw me play, so I'm bringing him on tour, and people loved it, man.
Yeah,
There was one particular crew guy, Jimmy, who just didn't get to see his mum before she passed away, and he felt it. He felt it every time I did it. It's good.
Mm.
The amazing crew.
Yes.
I want them back. I want them to work for us. Just don't have any money to pay them.
Yeah. All right, Rusty, we're going to chat after a couple of gigs, I reckon. I reckon we bring you back before my birthday and just have a quick chat about in the lead up to the 27th.
Yeah,
quick
ask
chat.
them
So
how
good
the
to see you,
tour
mate.
went. You can
Yeah,
ask us how the tour went.
We'll share a
Absolutely.
Canadian club or 7, mate.
No, I'm not having any more of them. That was ridiculous. I only had 4, but I had 4 in 8 minutes, and that was no good.
That'll do it.
Just put up that disclaimer, mate. Responsible alcohol. It's all about that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I didn't
All
drive
good.
home, though. Very responsible. All right, we'll see you later.
Mate,
All right,
great to have
Rusty.
you on, mate.
Cheers,
Really
mate.
good luck with the tour, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Thank-
Gotta love having Rusty on. Fantastic.
What a star, mate. What a star.
Let's finish on this.
Come back, lovey-dovey. This is your home now.
We missed the man. Where are you, Lovey?
Mate, he won't be happy with that.
That'll get back.
Just relax. Okay? We don't talk. We don't talk to one another like that. It's okay.
Just on that, cuz, let's finish with that. Do we need a bit of umpire love? When's umpire appreciation round? Oh, hang on. I just gave away 50 for doing that.
Yeah, you did. Look, mate, stating the captain obvious, you can't have a game without them, whether it's footy, cricket, whatever. You need your umpires, your referees, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
But in all honesty, as I said, look, and I have at times berated them and whatever and given them a hard time. If you actually spoke to the umpires as opposed to the umpires coach or someone from AFL, their job is not made easier by the constant tweaks and chinks and changes to our great game.
Yep.
Now, I don't want to see anybody injured, whether it's my sons in there playing a sport or whether it's someone when I'm watching the VFL or the AFL. But it's a contact sport. It's a high passion sport, people with high emotions. As long as you are maintaining some level of decorum, if you make a mistake and frustrate it or go to the umpire, mate, what's going on? If the umpire can't handle that, he shouldn't be or she shouldn't be an umpire. Now, I understand why they're doing it.
A little bit more to it, cuz. I think there's a little bit more to it. And I heard Razor Ray interviewed today, and he spoke a little bit about it. And the issue's coming down to it's that moment between blowing the whistle and giving the call, and
Yep.
then that kind of 10 seconds that happens after that call and decision's been made. Now,
Yep.
as we know, sometimes the umpire's wrong. They don't admit it and turn it over, but they need to let that dust settle, and then the question effectively, like Luke Hodge and all that used to do it quite well.
Yeah.
Sometimes talking to the umpire, discussing, mate, what's going on? What's the deal with that? The moment that's getting a little bit out of control is that, and it's very hard to do at a heat of the moment battle, and a decision gets made. Sometimes, decisions are iffy, what's right or wrong, but that's the bit they're trying to just get a hold of again. And I think other sports do it a lot better. Rugby, both rugby codes, I think, are one that I think handle it a bit better. That's all. So we've just got it's just not a good look for the game, as we know. So let's see how it progresses. I think we just got to let the dust settle on it. We know what it's like all the way down to local sport.
Mate, as you know, mate, I'm involved at local footy at both senior and junior level. Now, in our game last week, where I'm involved, at one of the clubs I'm involved at, I won't say where, the umpiring, he was umpiring like it was an AFL game. Now, I'm not saying that he was wrong or right or whatever, but at local level, you need umpires, you need to respect umpires. I'm all for that. But he was so reactive in his umpiring to the point the frustration boiled over, and that's where the game gets lost.
Yep.
From an AFL level, the players can't tell the umpire how to umpire. So when a player goes to ground and everyone stands up and does that, which they all do,
yep,
they're umpiring. That's not your gig. You play. So as Ross Lyon said, let the players play, let the umpires umpire. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yep.
So you either got to pay it every time or you don't pay it. And as you said, that's where they've got to Brad Scott and his mates have got to get it all sorted out. Because I think a lot of the umpires are pretty good with it, but as you saw from round five's games, the 9 games, there was, hang on a minute, the Friday night game, they were paying it red hot, but what happened to the Saturday afternoon game? They're not paying it. What's the difference?
Yep.
And that's I think it's the only game in the world, and the rugby league and rugby union codes, I think they've got it great with the send-off rule and the sin bin, because to me, a 50-metre penalty is a harsh penalty, but you look at soccer and the rugby codes, if you do something untoward, and I call abusing an umpire untoward, mate, have 10 minutes in the sin bin. That hurts the side more than anything else. But greater minds than us will think about it and discuss it, mate, and we'll make decisions.
Absolutely. Speaking of great minds, one of our all-time favourite Tigers, Eddie Zamet's just jumping on. How about the teams are allowed the same amount of free kicks per game? Just an idea. Well, he's
an ideas man, Eddie, isn't he?
My advice to you, Eddie, you've seen the good times, mate. You've seen the good times. And when you're first to the footy, you generally get the free kick. So sadly, right now, you boys are chasing tail, and you had to chase tail against the Demons. So, look, I can give you one thing, mate. There's still some good Tigers left in the Tigers, for sure. There's some good times ahead. There's some great kids there. You've done an awesome job. The question I ask, and I've asked a few Tiger supporters, would you have won 3 if you had a won back-to-back the first 2? And it's an interesting question that I look forward to asking Eddie on the show and in person next time, because the fact they didn't win it in 18 got them so much hungrier for 19 and 20. So it's just a thought, but it'd be interesting to hear from an astute football lover like Eddie and these lovely Tigers. Maybe you're going to do a T-shirt, Eddie, and who gets the T-shirt this year? That'll be the next question. So great to hear from you, mate. What we are going to do is we're going to open the show with it, but we got waylaid, so let's close the show with it. Here we go. A new segment. Let's have a little test run, Cuz. Here we
Yes.
go. Cuz's classic. There you go.
Spared no expense on the graphics at the start there, mate. Love it.
Absolutely, mate. It's
Beautiful.
I kind of
Like
feel
it a
like it's
lot.
AA it's Saturday.
Mate, just a look, it's very appropriate at the moment, obviously, with events of Anzac Day on Monday, so 48 hours ago. Like, personally, for me, I think it's one of the most important days in our calendar. I think we really need to, especially now with, I think there's definitely, I'm pretty sure, no First World War veterans alive, and a lot of the Second World War veterans now are either in their late 80s or early 90s, the ones that are alive. So I think it's not glorifying war, not at all, but I think it's just important to remember both the men and women who have served and are currently serving to give us the life that we've become accustomed to, and allow us, especially in Australia, being where we are in the world sort of situation, world map. They look, we still are in many ways, I think, the lucky country. I know it's been tough for us all the last sort of 2 to 3 years, but you look at events in other parts of the world, whether it's the third world or even the established world, like we are still the lucky country. And I think that's a lot to do with the sacrifices that those people have made and are continuing to make for us. That's my first classic, mate. I think an important one. We'll see how we go going forward. I've got a couple of little chestnuts, but I thought that was a very appropriate one for this to kick it off with.
Totally agree, mate. I think that's a great start. And just on that, I mean, I think we do this beautifully. Was so good to see this happening again. Tributes all around the place, massive record crowds. They're expecting a lot less numbers. Fantastic to see big numbers turn out and honour the veterans, those previous and also those currently serving. And also then we go into the big games, and obviously the biggest probably game of all next to the grand final is the Anzac game on Anzac Day. And then we have Melbourne Storm versus the Warriors, which was an incredible tribute as well. That Melbourne Storm and New Zealand, being the Anzac Spirits, were able to do. And my God, what a game! But interesting. On the lest we forget, the Warriors put up best we forget. That was an absolute belting that no one other than us wanted to see as Melbourne Storm supporters, and they were just incredible and just ruthless that game. They didn't hold back, and it was interesting enough. It was quite close at halftime, and they just banged on about another 50 points in the second half. So just incredible for Melbourne Storm's largest ever score. Huge moment.
Yeah, mate. As I've said to you many, many times, that their franchise, for want of a better word, the Storm, over a long period of time now, for at least 20 odd years, has been amazing. The ability for them to reinvent. Bellamy won as a coach, but turn over their list and maintain such a high level of integrity as an association, but also continually putting out good performances on the park as well has been amazing.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish with
Come
this.
back, lovey-dovey. This is your home now.
Come on, Lovey. We've gone for nearly 2 hours, mate. You're still a no-show. So we're expecting something big for you next week.
You are one of the bravest men I know, because next week, just a little teaser for you. I have spent a couple of days in the last week or so with the great said Lovey-Dovey, or Whole Lot of Love, as he likes to call himself. Got a few nicknames. Doing a little bit of moving for him, and that's been a rewarding experience for me. That's the word I'll go with. Just watching him, his calm, relaxing demeanour, and just how infectious it is. So, mate, you dropping that little chestnut, that will only, you might get a little text later on tonight from the great man. No, I'll just Pontius Pilate that one.
No worries. So we are going to have some better intros, but I think I quite like the cheesy factor of these little intros that we're doing. But
I
we
like
look
it.
forward
No,
to
it's good.
launching. We look forward to launching this segment next week. Lovey loses it. That'll be classic for Lovey.
Best thing about that, you've gone with your own audio too. I like that too. No, very nice.
Well, we spare no expense here, mate, on so what's been happening. Okay, what we're going to do to absolutely finish off, we've been finishing off for about the last hour. The last thing before we finish. So thanks for hanging out with me for an hour and 45 odd minutes tonight, cuz. It's been great to have a chat. We haven't seen that much of each other recently, mate, but it's great to have a chat about life and what's going on and what's happening in the outside world. And one of the absolute little gems that I found recently at a gig, it was a Christian Mizzy gig actually at Brunswick Ballroom. My apologies. I found this beautiful soul called Hannah Schmidley. I just want to play this little track of hers to finish off. Thanks again, cuz, and look forward to seeing you on episode 72.
72.
Cheers, mate.
See you, mate.
Have a good one.
You too.
Who